If I had reviewed the Casio Carbon Automatic 1 week before, I would have said don't buy it. But after 2 weeks of usage, my thoughts have differed. Many reviewers praise this watch as they would have got this watch as a PR package from Casio. But it's not the case with me. I bought it with my own money. I have to make sure that the viewer also doesn't make a purchase mistake like this. So let's start with the specifications of this watch. The carbon variant and the stainless steel variant vary with only two differences. When you take the stainless steel variant, I've made a more detailed video about that. You can check it out in the description. Internally, both the watches are the same, but what makes it different is the carbon variant is slightly bigger than the stainless steel version. So if you include the crown, you get a case size of 42.5mm, and if you exclude the crown, it comes around 39.5, which is almost equivalent to 40mm. And the second thing is it has a carbon case as well as dial with a rubber strap, folding clasps. So that is the main difference between both these watches. But you do get a carbon dial in the stainless steel version as well. So you have an option to choose if you need a carbon dial. Being the flagship of the EFK 100 series, this watch has a very good carbon design. So the dial pattern is very similar to the stainless steel version, but this one is forged carbon, which is the main difference. People might think that the case is not completely carbon. So when you look at the watch as such, you can see carbon casing on the sides as well as part of the back. But what has happened here is they've completely made the watch case out of carbon and added stainless steel parts to it. So if you look at the stainless steel parts of this watch, the indices, the markers, the bezel, the crown, and the case back is made up of stainless steel. You have an open case back, so you can't say there's much stainless steel at the back. So that is the parts of the stainless steel in this watch, whereas the full case is made up of carbon, which makes this watch at least 30% lighter than the stainless steel version. And of course, the rubber strap makes it even more lighter when you wear the watch. The forged carbon dial actually looks really good in person, but there is a problem with the sapphire crystal, which is also a con for this watch, which I'll discuss about later. The indices and markers is made up of a gunmetal kind of steel variant, so it's not much legible at some lighting conditions, but in natural light you won't have any problem. But when it comes to artificial lights, the visibility of this watch is a very major concern. If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new to this channel. I'm Nishant and I do videos relating to watches and watches only. So YouTube has also come up with the hype function where you can actually hype this video. To do that, all you have to do is go to the comment section, you'll find the hype button over there, or next to the super thanks, you'll also find the hype button. Let's continue with the video. The build quality of this watch is actually really good. This is the first time ever I'm using a carbon watch. I've seen a few carbon watches before, but I've not extensively used them. The rubber strap is of a good quality, but it's not as good as the premium G-Shocks you've seen, like the DVD H2000 or the Mud Masters, but still it's a very decent strap which you can use. I would rate the build quality at about 8 out of 10. The loom situation is much worse in this watch. At least in the stainless steel version, even if it's dark outside and have little form of light, you can actually see the time. But here, being a very stealthy watch, fully black, seeing things are really difficult in this watch when it comes to all lighting conditions. And there's one major problem with the sapphire crystal, especially in this black variant. In the white, you can't see that problem, but which also affects the loom, and the amount of loom is also very limited in this watch. So I don't know why Casio went for this kind of design scheme. I hope they change it in the future. There are a few pros and a lot of cons in this watch, unfortunately. So let's start with the pros. First thing is the carbon case as well as dial. It looks really good, but due to some factors you can't appreciate it much. And the second thing is it's a very light watch. So when you're wearing it, you won't feel that you're wearing this watch for extended periods of time. I actually traveled with this watch and I didn't feel the burden of wearing a watch. Sometimes you feel that, right? It's very comfortable and it's very snug, so you don't feel that problem at all. So let's start with the cons. The first thing is the sapphire crystal. I've mentioned before in the previous section, the sapphire crystal of this watch is not of the best quality. I've used the stainless steel version and that didn't seem too bad because of the color combination, which is white dial. But here, having a full black dial, it actually casts a shadow or some kind of reflection on the dial. Looking at the watch right now, the reflection from the lights actually hit the watch and visibility is very bad. So I don't know why this has happened with this variant, and as I told you before, Casio is very urgent in making this watch. They didn't think through it properly, so I'm not the best person to tell about it, but still as a consumer I feel this has been rushed. So the second con is the lume. The lume is just very minimal, which makes the visibility of the watch nearly impossible. The indices are also of the same color, almost the same color as the dial, which makes readability questionable in this watch. And the third thing is the folding clasp. The folding clasp of this watch is very peculiar. I have not seen this kind of folding clasp in most of the watches. So normally when it comes to the butterfly clasp or folding clasp, you have buttons on the side, you can release and open the folding clasp, but here you have to pull the clasp to actually open it, which sometimes if you're not holding the clasp and removing it like this and use the rubber strap, chances of your rubber strap getting cut off is much higher in a very short period of time. And you have this loop on the side which actually fastens your strap. That can be quite annoying at some times. So when I'm wearing the watch, it just slips down. And the third thing is the pricing. The pricing of this watch is much higher compared to other variants in the EFK lineup because of the carbon variant, but I don't think so it was justified for that price tag. The price of this watch is 39,995. For 40,000 rupees, I would get a really good Mudmaster, but it's a quartz watch and it's an automatic watch. So that's the difference. But even though it's automatic, it's not the value for money automatic you're looking out in the market. If you take the aspect of a carbon dial and a carbon case, this watch is much cheaper than its competitors. I'm not talking about brands like Bordery or some other micro brand. I'm talking about very reputable brands. So if any of you know that there's a watch cheaper than this in a full carbon variant, please do let me know. I would say if you want a carbon dial, you can go for the stainless steel version, which is nearly 10,000 rupees lesser than its watch, priced at 26,995. So if you're looking for a full carbon dial, then this is a watch you can go for, but I wouldn't recommend you to buy this variant. You can better go for the stainless steel variant to save a lot of money. It's very sad to say that this being the flagship of the EFK series, it kind of disappoints people with the sapphire glass and the indices, and there's a lot more which I discussed before. So this is the first time ever I'm making videos saying that a Casio watch doesn't have value for money, and it's really disappointing being a Casio fanboy. I've bought a lot of watches from Casio, and this is the only watch I would say it's not worth the money. And they made me say it. I hope Casio will redeem themselves in a new variant of the EFK lineup or the automatic versions. I forgot to shoot the outro, so those were my honest thoughts on the Casio EFK 100 in carbon. According to me, this is one of the no value for money Casios out there. It looks cool, it looks new, but it misses those basic things which should have made this watch perfect. If you haven't checked my previous video about the stainless steel version of the EFK 100, you can check it out here, as well as the playlist of all the Casio videos I've made over here. I'll see you next with another exciting video. Until then, peace out.